Two, that your polling place has been changed for this upcoming spring primary from, it used to be Hall's Lawn and Garden Equipment Showroom, and it's been changed to the Toolik Valley Social Center, which is at 450 Franklin Street in Clymer. So Cherry Hill 2, don't go to Hall's Lawn and Garden, go over to the Toolik Valley Social Center. And in West Mahoning, in that precinct, that has been changed from the county building where folks have been voting to the Country Junction restaurant, and that is in Smicksburg on Eileen Drive. Those two changes will be effective for this spring primary. And the other important thing that I want to talk about with regard to the election on May the 21st is you need to make the distinction between two different elections. There is the primary election, in which you'll have county commissioners candidates and sheriffs and all the various townships and municipality primaries. Republicans and Democrats, of course, can vote in those elections, but there's also a special election that's taking place that day for the 41st Senatorial District, which encompasses all of Indiana County. And everyone who's a registered voter in Indiana County is eligible to vote in that election. You do not have to be a Republican or a Democrat. You can be an independent or registered in any other party or affiliation. As long as you're a registered voter, you should come out and vote in that very, very important special election. So two things going on that day, the spring primary and the special election for the 41st District.
Mm-hmm. As far as the polling place changes, will there be signage for those who might not have learned of this? Will there be signage at the former locations that
I'm
directing
sure that
them
we
to the
can
new
provide
place?
that, yes. And we'll be talking about it again at our next upcoming meeting before the primary as well. So we'll try to get and I believe we've also sent letters out to them. So it's really important.
And of course, the new voting machines will be ready to roll.
Absolutely. And
They've been certified now?
They've been certified, and our election team, led by Rob and Mary I, has been very busy in making sure those things are up and running and ready to go, and we're excited to introduce them. I think that people are going to see very little change in what they're used to. We've always used the paper ballots, and so we are ahead of the game. A lot of counties are struggling right now with how they're going to pay for those systems, and we're still waiting on word of reimbursement for those as well. But Indiana County is well positioned to move ahead.
Okay.
So here we go.
Very good, very good. Anything else you'd like to contribute at this moment?
If I can just, I'd like to mention two other things very quickly, and then I'll turn it over to Rob because I know he's got a full plate as well. Alice Paul House groundbreaking is coming up on Friday the 26th at 11 o'clock. And this project has taken so much work from so many different agencies and groups and individuals to make it happen, and the fundraising and so on. It's finally come together. The new facility is going to be up on Salzburg Avenue, 16,000 square feet on 2 floors, not only a domestic violence shelter, but also the administrative offices for the Alice Paul House and so on. So some new security measures and so on will be integrated into that facility. It's really an essential facility for the county. It provides safety and shelter for those who have either been victims or are at risk of being victims of domestic violence. So I want to congratulate the Alice Paul House and its leaders and the entire community for moving this off the drawing boards and into reality. It's very, very important to us.
Okay.
So one other thing that's really important and very near and dear to my heart is April, as always, is Organ Donation Awareness Month in the United States. And I know that most people don't think that much every day about organ and tissue and cornea transplantation and donation, but it's something I think about every day. I have the privilege of serving as vice chairman for the Center for Organ Recovery and Education, or CORE, in Pittsburgh, and our primary focus is to get people to become registered donors and to facilitate and coordinate transplantation of organs and tissues and corneas. So it is Organ Donation Awareness Month. So it's so easy to register. Just go to core.org and click on register. It takes about 90 seconds. You can do it whenever you renew your driver's license. But so important. And like I said, a lot of people don't think about it very much, but if you find yourself or someone that you care about very much who's in need of an organ transplant, it's all you think about. Mm-hmm. And so I just encourage you to get out there and support Organ Donor Awareness Month.
Very good. Very good. Commissioner Mike Baker. Now to Commissioner Rod Ruddock on the other microphone. Good morning to you.
Todd, I'm doing very well. I'll pick up on a couple of things that Commissioner Baker had mentioned. With the Alice Paul House groundbreaking, at our last meeting, we actually approved 4 contracts to move the construction effort of the facility forward. So when you start approving those kind of contracts, you know you're closer to the end. So, but we are starting the beginning on the groundbreaking on April the 26th. And the other item that he mentioned about the election, I think from a media standpoint, we should be able to have the results sooner here in the county, I would think, than we've had in the past,
That's right.
because of the write-ins. The write-ins will be electronically converted so that we'll have a sheet that will list those write-ins, and it will not have to be recopied by the people who take care of our precincts. Mm-hmm. And they had to rewrite those and then bring them into the county, and then we'd have an official count committee review those names and list them for write-in ballots. Now it will be done automatically at the precincts. So this will save probably a significant amount of time. And that was really always the holdup of getting the results back, particularly from the townships that are distant from Indiana. And I think that'll be a good positive step that the new machines will provide for the voting process. So that's exciting to note.
Yeah, it is. Josh is excited about it because he might get home earlier in the night.
I just saw him smile when I said that.
Get home before midnight.
A couple things that I think are important. We had a meeting this past week with a group of individuals surrounding the issue of broadband. You know, since I've been a commissioner, I think I've spoken about this for about the last 16 years, and we have made progress. Don't get me wrong. We've made significant progress in our county where we do have significant fiber that's been extended throughout the county. And then we had made application to the state and federal government to improve our capabilities throughout the county. It's not where it needs to be. We complain. You see it on the news all the time, but it needs to get fixed. It just absolutely has to be fixed. And one of the things that I commend is that the Aaron Intermediate Unit under Jim Wagner have created a contract, I believe, with a company out of Pittsburgh, and they will be working with school districts to make sure they harness this system so that we have top grade capability in the county on technology. Where we are missing the link, though, and we missed it a number of years ago when the IU did something very similar with another company, they stopped in delivering the service from the school districts into the homes of those who are in that school district. So it's the residential connection that is truly missing here. Now, the company that's been hired to support the IU this year will be putting, and I think supporting the commercial side of the connectivity, but they will not be providing support to the residential, and that's bothersome to us. So our meeting this past week was, how can we make that, how can we change that? And I think it's going to take the county maybe to do some things we've never done before to kickstart the process. Maybe we'll need to form some sort of a task force or an authority to take ownership of this process. We've got to work with our solicitor to find out what we can do, because to sit back and not connect those who are in need just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. And the federal government and the state government talk a big game about getting money down to the counties. Well, it's time to bring the monies in so we can make this fluid. Yeah. So that was one of my project statements here this morning, because I think it's important to the county. And connected somewhat is that if you can't get the word out, or if you can't get the message out, then you do have problems with developing a very efficient, effective workforce. They're all connected. And Indiana County had a great employment expo a couple weeks ago out of the KCAC, and I commend the whole team. Kevin Laser and his team did a magnificent job. Mark Hilliard from the chamber. we had more students than we've ever had there. We had the public come. It was very well attended, and I'm sure they've been on talking on the radio about that with you. But I got to tell you how proud we were as a county to have that kind of engagement. And what's coming out of all this is there are probably individual kind of initiatives that are going on right now, and the chamber has taken ownership of one, and that is to develop within the school systems a system to recognize the growth of individuals in terms of their soft skills, and working with school districts to make sure that they are recognized for the improvements that they are making. And they're working on a concept plan as we speak right now. Mm-hmm. As our engagement as county officials, I work directly now on the Workforce Investment Board, trying to bring someone on board to connect the businesses of Indiana County in terms of their needs into the school systems. The counselors of our school districts are just overwhelmed, and we have to find a way to give them some assistance and have someone out there that's meeting businesses, bringing information back into the schools to improve apprenticeships, to improve on-site job activity. We have to do a better job at that. And we think if we can hire someone to do that, it will at least relieve the counselors of that burden and increase another side of that, and that is getting students into the workforce. That's really the key part. So, and a couple other things that I might note. This is sort of a nice a note to bring forward, that our Parks and Recreation team, our advisory team at Patterson, they were able to build a handicapped accessible fishing dock at Blue Spruce.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's in place, and I think that's an exciting move in Indiana County. Sort of under the radar screen, but it happens because there are people in need, and I think that'll be exciting that we can get some individuals out there to have their opportunity to get involved in some.
They've already begun to express appreciation for that.
Oh, good.
Might not be the last one we build.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I hope Blue Spruce is big enough to take care of all the requests that are coming through. So I'm going to stop right there. I have a few other things that I could name. I guess maybe one I should is that we did a proclamation this past week recognizing the conservation districts across Pennsylvania, and specifically ours here in Indiana County, what they do and making it work for environmental and agriculture and conservation upgrades. So all doing a great job.
Terrific. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen, so much.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Bud.
Thank you, Todd.
We appreciate it. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, AM 1160 and 101.1 FM.